Today we're taking a look at these CFB matches, which are happening on Saturday, October 15, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. And if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our video, we will give you 2 betting picks for each game, a team pick and a total pick based on facts and detailed explanation. So make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Central Michigan, CMU, versus Akron. The Central Michigan Chippewas are a better team than they have displayed so far. They feature one of the better QBs in the MAC in Daniel Richardson, who led the Chips to a 6-2 conference record last year, and he is producing. The senior had 424 passing yards against 2 ranked foes in OK State and 235 passing yards against Penn State earlier this season. This is big as Akron has a poor pass defense that ranks 123rd overall. Furthermore, the Zips are one of the worst teams in the MAC. This is a team that has lost by at least 9 points in 4 out of their last 5 games. They rely on the passing offense, however it is not translated to success because the offensive line is offering no protection. Irons has been sacked a whopping 23 times, including 6 sacks in the loss to Bowling Green. They will need to have success on the ground, but I don't expect a lot of production considering CMU has a decent rush defense that is limiting foes to 141.5 rushing yards per game. Our team pick is Central Michigan Chippewas minus 13 points. Simply put, there will be very few punts in this game on Saturday, and the majority of those will be by Akron, as Central Michigan will easily move up and down the field against a weak Zips defense. Akron allows an average of 40.8 points and 486.2 yards per game of total offense to their opponents, and Central Michigan is generating an average of 401.8 yards and 26.0 points per game. The total has finished over in 5 of Akron's last 7 games played at home and in for the last 5 games that Akron has played against a team from the Mid-American Conference. Our total pick is over the total. Minnesota versus Illinois. This matchup is lined up perfectly for the Golden Gophers to come out on top, and with their ability to move the ball with one of the country's best running backs, controlling the clock will be key. For all the focus on Minnesota's talented offense, their defense is one that rivals Illinois and has its own track record of limiting opponents this season. The key is the injury to DeVito at quarterback for Illinois though. With the signal caller seeming less and less likely to play on Saturday, Illinois' already quiet offense will be searching for success without its key piece. Additionally, according to Covers.com, Minnesota is 6-1 at TS in their last 7 games against a team with a winning record, as well as sitting at 6-2 at TS in the last 8 meetings between the 2 teams in Illinois. Minnesota minus 6.5 points. The Minnesota Golden Gophers have been one of the most prolific teams in the entire nation, as they are scoring the ball incredibly well, as they are averaging 245 rushing yards per game thus far. They have one of the best running backs in the entire country, with Muhammad Ibrahim being listed as probable as he dealt with an ankle injury, but has 89 rushing attempts for 567 yards, 6.4 yards per carry, while running for 8 touchdowns. He has been dominating at being able to put points on the board, as he has recorded at least 1 touchdown in every game he played this year, while scoring multiple touchdowns in all but 1 game thus far. Quarterback Tanner Morgan also has 10 total touchdowns, 7 passing, 3 rushing, and makes sure defenses are going to be on their toes and guessing what type of play will be called. There is a reason the Golden Gophers are scoring 38.6 points per game heading into this conference matchup. The offense of the Illinois Fighting Illini needs to step up and dominate, as they have been closer to the middle of the nation, with 26 points on 406.8 total yards per game. Senior quarterback Tommy DeVito is dealing with a leg injury that forced him to miss the remainder of the game last week against Iowa after suffering the injury. They also run the football extremely well as they are averaging 195.5 rushing yards per game up to this point. However, potentially having a backup quarterback for a struggling offense is not a great thing to continue expecting some offense, with Artur Sitkowski trying to keep the team afloat here against one of the best defenses is going to be a huge uphill battle. The two best defensive teams in the sport are not going to be able to score many points against one another. Having Artur Sitkowski as the potential starting quarterback will limit the amount of points that Illinois can score as a whole. Both programs love to run the football and drain the clock, as Minnesota is averaging 47 rushing attempts per game, while Illinois has 43.8 rushing attempts per game heading into this matchup. These are two of the best defensive programs in the entire sport, so this will be a great sign for the defenses to keep the game low scoring. The under has it in 4 of the previous 5 games against one another. Under 39.5 points. Miami O versus Bowling Green. The Redhawks have losses that are far from disappointing this season and are hoping that their non-conference experience gives them the ability to come away with a win in this one. September meetings with Cincinnati and Kentucky saw this group struggle, while a close loss 2 weeks ago to Buffalo dealt them their second loss. Home has been key to this group finding success, and even though they'll be favored on the road, it still could be a tough start for them to overcome. It doesn't hurt that this group hasn't lost to Bowling Green since 2017, and that confidence internally could go a long way toward finding success on Saturday. Now that the MAC part of the schedule is underway, Bowling Green faces a dangerous prospect of struggling to find many more wins down the stretch. They come into this one with a 2-4 record, and whether at home or on the road, it hasn't seemed to help this group much. Last week saw them get embarrassed at home against Buffalo, and when this group has lost, it has come in ugly fashions this season. One advantage, and maybe the only advantage, is that this team at least gets to stay home for the second straight week. With some consistency to the schedule, it certainly can't hurt this group. While both offenses have struggled so far this season, the Redhawks have the defense to continue to make life difficult for Bowling Green in this one. Beyond having more experience, as well as more depth at key positions, the Redhawks have the confidence and momentum brewing in the right direction as well. For Bowling Green, their inability to get stops will come back to haunt them in this one, and without a strong ground game to help dictate the pace and control the clock, it will be a struggle for the home side to even keep this one close. Additionally, according to Covers.com, Miami is 7-1 at TS in the last 8 meetings in Bowling Green and 4-1 at TS in the last 5 meetings between the two teams overall. Our team pick is Miami, -7. The Miami Redhawks are giving up an average of 25.2 points per game, which is 62nd in the nation. The Redhawks are allowing an average of 88.8 yards rushing and 262.3 yards passing per game, for a total of 351.2 yards. Miami is allowing opponents an average of just 2.8 yards per carry against its tough run defense. The leading tackler for the Redhawks is linebacker Ryan McWood with 53, and the co-leaders in quarterback sacks are lineman Caden Wallard and cornerback Matthew Salapak with 3.0 each. 5 different players each have 1 interception for the Redhawks. The Bowling Green defense is allowing an average of 41.0 points per game. The Falcons have allowed 45 points or more on 3 occasions. Bowling Green allows fewer points than only 2 other teams in all of FBS college football. The Falcons are allowing an average of 181.2 yards rushing and 311.2 yards passing, for a total of 492.3 yards per game. Opponents are averaging 4.9 yards per carry against the Bowling Green defense. The leading tackler for Bowling Green is safety Chris Bacon with 42, and the leader in quarterback sacks is lineman Carl Brooks with 4.5. 4 different players each have 1 interception for Bowling Green. Yes, Bowling Green has one of the worst defenses in the nation, and Miami will score more than its share of points, even though the Redhawks average only 20.6 points per game, but the Falcons will have a hard time scoring against the Red Hawks. The total has finished under in 6 of the last 8 games that Miami has played on the road, as well as in 13 of the last 19 games overall played by the Redhawks. The total has finished in 19 of the last 27 games that Bowling Green has played following a loss at home of 10 points or more. Our total pick is under 45.5 points. Iowa State vs Texas. In recent years, the Iowa State Cyclones have fielded one of the better offenses in the high-scoring Big 12 Conference. This season, however, scoring has been hard to come by for the Cyclones. On Saturday, the Cyclones' scoring woes continued in a 10-9 loss to Kansas State at home. After starting the season at 3-0, Iowa State is now 3-3 on the season and 0-3 in Big 12 Conference play. The Texas Longhorns come into Saturday's contest with the Cyclones off of the team's best game of the season. In the 118th matchup of the Red River rivalry, the Longhorns trounced the Oklahoma Sooners 49-0. The margin of victory was the most lopsided victory for Texas in the long, storied history of the rivalry. Something has got to give this week with several key matchups with decidedly one-sided spreads. It won't be this game, however. The Cyclones have struggled to score and could enter this contest without their top two running backs. They had neither of them available for much of the K-State game, and it reflected in the team's inability to put up points. They now face a Texas defense fresh off a shutout of their arch-rivals and with their number one quarterback back and healthy for a second straight week. Some might point to a letdown game for the Longhorns, but they have already had their letdown games this year with 2 losses, both without Ewers. Texas is playing still for a Big 12 title and certainly a New Year's Day bowl game. Iowa State, meanwhile, has lost 3 straight games and can't generate any offense. In addition, Texas is 5-1 ATS this season and 4-0 ATS at home. While Iowa State's defense has been excellent, this is the most firepower they've seen this season from a team that can both run and throw the ball. Texas has been held under 20 points just once this entire season, while Iowa State has scored over 20 points just twice. This will be a 3-score win for a Texas team trying to build a case for a big bowl game down the stretch. Lay the points, minus 15.5, and take the Longhorns. The defense has been putting up a solid output as the Longhorns have given up 17.8 points on 338.2 total yards per game, which is inside of the top 50 programs in both aspects. The defense has been doing well as they are limiting points, but they are forcing punts without forcing turnovers. They have just 4 turnovers with all being interceptions, 2 pick sixes, and they need to be able to force turnovers to be dominating throughout the season, as winning the turnover battle will be a great thing for the program. Looking at the last 5 games, these defenses have been doing extremely well as the Cyclones are giving up 14.4 points per game, while the Longhorns are allowing 19.4 points per game thus far. However, these teams are going to run the football a lot, and I do not believe in the Texas Longhorns offense to reach their implied total in this game, as the Iowa State Cyclones defense is one of the best at limiting offenses, especially of late. The under has hit in each of their previous 7 games between each other. Our total pick is under 49.5 points.